It isn't new to anyone that some of the wildest news out of America, and maybe the world, comes out of Florida. It seems like we're ever so often hit with some insanely weird stuff out of Florida that makes us wonder what on earth is going on out there. In today's video, we'll be talking about an elderly Floridian couple who tried to hijack a sex plane in a move that unfortunately proved to be fatal for them. What happened aboard that plane? How did they go from sex enthusiasts to plane hijackers? Stick around and you'll find out. The flight. On Thursday, August 9, 2001, an elderly couple who appeared to be in their 50s or 60s chartered a small plane. A Piper Cherokee, belonging to a small company called Fly Key West for its mile-high sex service slogan, "Love is in the air," which was heavily advertised in the local newspapers as well as on the internet. The pilot claimed that they only gave them their first names, and added that this was quite common in the business as most people prefer to maintain their anonymity when engaging in a business involving sex activities. The couple didn't make an appointment before the flight. According to the pilot, Thomas Hayashi, this also isn't uncommon. He claimed that people walk up all the time. We just hop in and go. They pay cash, which is always fine with me. Hayashi is the co-owner of a tour company called Fly Key West, which offers the Mile High Club service. The company offers what they nicknamed a quickie flight of 35 minutes for the price of $199 and up to $349 for a 55-minute sunset tour. The company also offered to videotape on passengers' request for passengers who wanted to have video evidence of their activities in the air. He claimed that the people booked the plane around 11:30 a.m. on that Thursday, and that the flight was planned to last for 40 minutes around Key West. In addition to not giving last names, the couple also didn't give any identification and didn't pay cash, all of which ensured that their identities were protected. Which comes as no surprise. After all, most people would not be willing to publicly associate themselves with a chartered sex plane. The hijacking. Going on, the pilot claimed that all was normal for the first 10 minutes into the flight. After about 10 minutes in the air, though, the male passenger stepped into the cockpit, shut off the radio, pulled out a knife, and ordered Hayashi to fly to Cuba. The pilot immediately followed his crazy instructions, but as he began to approach Cuban air territory, he began to worry about needing clearance from Cuban air traffic control, as is the usual procedure. When he said this to the male hijacker, the hijacker refused to allow Hayashi to turn on the radio, and this led to a struggle in the cockpit. In the heat of the struggle, Hayashi made a brave attempt to thwart the hijacking by pulling the throttle to idle and then pushing on it. This threw the hijacker into the ceiling, and Hayashi took advantage of this to regain control of the plane. And the plane leveled off. However, when the hijacker regained his balance, he started struggling with Hayashi over the throttle. And in the middle of the struggle, the throttle, which controls engine speed, was broken. Hayashi then started working frantically to bring the plane down so that he could ditch it into the sea, as he calculated that was the best and safest course of action. He radioed a Mayday distress call to the Key West airport and informed the officials there that he was ditching. The crash. At this point, the hijacker figured out that he had screwed up really bad and leaves the cockpit to join his woman. Hayashi told both passengers to put on their life jackets and strap in because he was going to attempt to land the plane on the water. Unsurprisingly, both of the passengers turned hijackers complied with the instructions and inflated their life jackets in the plane. After all they wanted to do was get flown to Cuba, not die in a plane crash. Unfortunately, Hayashi's landing of the plane was not exactly smooth. His vision was distorted by aviation fuel in his eyes. The plane hit the deep waters of the Florida Straits between Key West and Cuba in a crash that broke its landing gear and began to sink quickly. While Hayashi was shaken by the impact of the crash, he quickly managed to scamper out of the sinking plane, but the hijackers didn't. Even though they had enough time to escape the rapidly sinking plane and get out to safety, they never did. When Hayashi noticed that they were still in the plane, he swam back to the aircraft and yelled at them to get out, but they never did. They sat in the plane together until it sank. Hayashi was rescued soon after, thanks to his earlier distress call to the Key West Tower, where the officials at the tower notified a Coast Guard C-130 that was luckily close to the area where the plane crashed. And he was the only person in the water. By that time, the plane had long sunk, along with the two unlucky hijackers. A search for the passengers, who were by then presumed to be dead, began in earnest, but was called off after 5 hours of search failed to turn up either one of them. The Coast Guard announced that they had no plans to try to salvage the plane. Coast Guard Petty Officer Robert Siddharth said, "It is in about 3,600 feet of water. We don't salvage planes or boats that have sunk." The aftermath. The FBI investigation into the matter was finished quickly. Because there was no wreckage of the plane available for investigation, they were forced to accept Hayashi's narration of events, which they found to add up and had no visible holes in the story. While the Federal Aviation Administration said it would look into the qualifications of the pilot and the company, but the results of that investigation were not released to the public. A spokeswoman for the flight company said that tour operators who leave an airport on short flights and return to the same field do not need to file flight plans or passenger lists, which is why customers of the company were able to maintain their anonymity. This proved to have its shortcomings, however, as the identities of the hijacking couple remain a mystery until this very day. Nobody knows who they are, and missing persons records have failed to turn up a match. Even stranger is the fact that no relative has come forward to claim that the hijackers may possibly be related to them. Neither was any missing person report filed. Furthermore, efforts by investigators to figure out the identities of the hijackers have proved abortive, and today, almost 20 years later, their identities still remain a mystery. It's like they never even existed. Do you believe the pilot's account of the events? Do you think the couple was running away or hiding from something or someone? What do you think could have happened to make them desperate enough to struggle with a pilot in mid-air? Drop your opinion in the comments section below, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it. Also, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on engaging content like this one.